I don't know how good this is gonna work because a lot of the time when I try to stream through the Procreate app, it just cuts off on me. I'm not sure if it's a YouTube issue or what it is, but it seems to have some glitches. So hopefully this is coming through okay. I don't have a way to see your comments, but I will be sure to check them afterwards. Alright, so this is just going to be a basic tutorial, and then I'm going to veer into what I've been doing lately, which is painting on Procreate. So right now I'm using the iPad Pro 12.9-inch iPad Pro 2nd generation with the Apple Pencil and Procreate, which is what you guys are seeing here. So I just wanted to tap on a few things. Hopefully I get a lot of beginners here. For those of you that have been doing this, through Photoshop and have had plenty of time with Procreate, you guys probably either know as much as I do or know more than I do, so this video is probably not for you. This is for anybody that's starting off. So right now I have the Apple Pencil, and what I like to do, and this is what I've been doing lately, so I'm going to give you guys a tutorial of what I've been doing lately. And I kind of got this style from speed painters. I believe, can't remember his name now, but it's an artist that I follow that said whenever he gets stuck not being able to come up with anything to draw or to paint, he does a speed painting, and he'll do this, out of nowhere. It's not anything that he is trying to make perfect. He just puts the pencil to paper or whatever he's doing, and just goes at it and lets whatever comes out come out. And if he likes what comes out, then he'll go back into it and start putting a little finer detail. So what I've been doing is I've been doing the same premise, which is just speed painting and doing whatever's in my mind at that time, and then just going from there, except I try and finish the paintings when I start them. This video again is live, so there's no editing. You're going to hear me say a lot, which is horrible. I know that. Just trying to keep the flow going here. So anyways, let's dive right in. So I haven't really decided what I want to paint off the top of my head. I don't know yet, but I always like to start off with some sort of a grayscale. You can do, if you have the disc, you can go to any of these colors and just use the grayscale of that color. I like to stick between here or the yellows, only because it gives that nice hue. If I slant it over, it'll give a nice hue of that color, but we're gonna just stick with gray here. And what I like to use, the brush I like to use is the round brush to get started. Excuse me. So I use the round brush, and I leave the opacity all the way up because what I'm starting to do right now is just my silhouette of whatever I want to draw. So what I do is I test the brush, make sure it's the right size that I want, and it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start kind of sketching with the brush and not worrying about precision or it being perfect. I want to get to a point where I can see a picture on the canvas, and then I go from there. So I start off like this, and I try and do it smaller than my canvas is itself, because then if I really like it, I can enlarge it, and then I can start going into bigger details and correct all the mistakes that I made along the way. So I just start off with a circle, And believe it or not, at this circle, just me doing this, I'm starting to get a picture in my head of what I want to do. So I just start off with this circle, and now I have somewhat of a picture that I want to do. So I'm going to continue with the silhouette, but I'll show you what I meant earlier when I said you can just enlarge it. Now, a lot of people, a lot of artists that I see like to stick with manga or Japanese anime. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I appreciate all types of art, to be honest with you, but I like to try and stick with something that's original, something that, not everybody is doing, and kind of make it my own. So I still borrow some things from manga or anime. Sometimes my eyes will kind of look anime-esque, or my poses look like that. When I first started drawing, I started drawing anime style because I loved all of the animes that were out during that time in my life. So I started copying what I saw on TV, and one thing led to another, but then I got bored of it because everybody was doing it. I went to school and everybody and their brothers were doing it. It just, I don't know, I lost interest in it. Needless to say, though, there's still some artists out there that are just crazy with that style of art, and it just looks beautiful. But and this is just my my thought process on it is like everybody's doing it, so it's not as intriguing as it would have been had it been a brand new style of drawing. So one thing that I always tell people is that when you start drawing, try and use basic principles, okay? Like a lot of art teachers out there will not like the fact that you're drawing anime, and they expect you to paint or draw in a certain manner, and there is reason for that. And I'm not sure if all art teachers think this way, but the way that an instructor first presented it to me it didn't make sense at the time. I was kind of rebellious, but after drawing and painting for a couple of years, I found it to be common sense. And that's the basic principles. They want you to get used to the basic principles when it comes to drawing a character, drawing a face, a body, a pose, arms, legs, hands, things like that. And the reason for that is that if you look at anime, the reason why anime works the way it does, why it looks good the way that it's drawn out, is because they have basic principles in the anime. And by basic principles, I'll show you here, down here. So you have a head, and then you have the line that goes down, and I'm sure you guys seen this several times. And then you have the line that goes down here, and then you kind of stretch that to come down here. Then you have the ovals here. And sorry for the noise, my refrigerator's going crazy. But you have the ovals there, and then the chin kind of comes down. The jawline comes down and connects to the chin. And then you have the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, right? And then you have this circle that goes here. Now, those are basic principles. To be completely honest with you, those are basic principles. And what anime does is they take those basic principles and they keep it even more basic. So they keep the eyes where they're supposed to be as far as the measurements go, from the top of the head to the eyes, from the eyes to the nose, the tip of the nose, from the tip of the nose to the mouth, from the mouth to the chin. And they distort it in a way that it still works because those portions are still there. Those measurements are still there. So basically they're still sticking to the basic fundamentals, but they're just skewing it in a way that makes it more expressive. So when a character is excited, you can definitely tell they're excited because it's exaggerated, but the basic principles are there to help you understand that that is a human face and that is a person, that is, you know, cat, dog, whatever it is. They're still there. So my advice to anybody getting started is stick to your basic principles. And if you don't know them, learn them. You know, take the time to learn those basic principles. It's definitely going to help you out no matter what you're trying to create. You'll be able to look at it and be like, well, that doesn't look right. That's not in the right spot. And you can move it and exaggerate it if you want, like anime or comic book style, and then, you know, go from there. But I like different types of arts. I don't like sticking to one. I'm not very good at anime or manga, but I don't mind learning it. I've been watching some tutorial videos and seeing how these artists get these characters done. It's very interesting, and I love that type of like documentary type of videos and shows, so it's always cool. It's a good learning experience. Anyways, back to my painting here. So what I did was I started another layer for the eyes. As you guys can see up here, the two white dots, those are my eyes, and then the silhouette is still down here. Now I'm basically morphing my silhouette to kind of work around the eyes because I want you guys to be more intrigued about the eyes. And then I'm gonna, you know, build it out. So right now what I'm doing is I'm putting my basic shadows of where I want there to be shadows. And I'm not being perfect with it either. If you can see all my little scribbles here, I'm not trying to be perfect. I just want a general idea of where I want the shadows to be. And then I will build out on it later. And if you're new to my channel, definitely subscribe. I want to start trying to do some videos like this, and you know, of my style of drawing. You could also find me on Instagram, is where I spend a lot of time, is on Instagram, posting my stuff there. So you can find me there, and that's Concept Arts. I'll put a link in the description after this. Because it's spelled kind of differently. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start erasing some of these rough edges, kind of molding what I want it to look like. But I'm being very light with the Apple Pencil. Now the one thing that you guys want to remember when it comes to the Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro and Procreate is that they're pretty good about making it very smooth to use the Apple Pencil with Procreate on an iPad Pro. And I love it. It's the closest that I've gotten to paper and pencil. Or ink and pencil, or paint or ink and paper, or paint and paper. It's the closest I've gotten. So you can change the pressure curve up here. You have this little wrench, and if you go into the wrench and go into preferences over here at the top right, you can see edit pressure curve. That is going to be very useful, especially if you find yourself, having to push down too hard, or getting too much of a response when you push down very lightly. So I have it set to what works for me, and whatever works for you guys is going to depend on you. So what I suggest is just, giving it a couple of trial runs, see how the pencil works with different brushes, and then go from there. So right now I'm actually going to be erasing a big portion of my silhouette, because I know which way I want to go with this. Now, normally I, do a lot of different layers, but I'm trying to stick with as minimal layers as possible right now, just for this video. But I can have a lot of layers going at once, and it gets a little ridiculous. The cool thing about the layer, again, a lot of you guys probably know this already, but the cool thing about layers is that if you create a layer, like let's say you sketch out what you want to draw. So I'll give you a quick example here. I'll grab the pencil, technical pencil, and I'll just draw. Let's do this on a different layer. Speaking of layers, so you draw, let's say you draw a face, not the best face ever, and then you want to color it, but you don't want to go over the line. So you add a layer. You want to make sure that that layer is below the layer with the sketch. Okay, you can rename these too. All you gotta do is tap on it, and then you can rename right there. But just to keep this video flowing here, choose your color, double check, make sure you're on the layer below it, choose your brush. I'm going to go with the round brush again, and then when you paint, you don't go over the line. And this comes in handy, especially if you're drawing like comic book style, or anime, manga, cartoon, any of those. You can use this to color, and then you can just come around with the eraser and just start erasing the color. Another thing with the silhouette is a lot easier to get rid of the color outside of the lines, or outside of your silhouette, but I'll leave that for another video. I actually learned that from a video that I was watching, which was very helpful. Anyways, back to my character here. I'm still working with the silhouette because I still want to know where my shadows are. So I'm grabbing the black, and I'm just going to start putting some shadow. And hopefully this is still going, because I see that the video record icon is still there, so that's a good thing. Usually it kind of boots me out by now, but it's not, so that's a good thing. Alright. So now that I have that, I'm going to grab the same color here, and I'm going to make this big. I'm just going to extend it out like this. Alright, and then we're just going to get rid of this whole bottom piece because I don't think I want to keep that, so we're just going to get rid of that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new bottom piece, but this time I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Just so I know it's underneath his snout here. But I'm also going to give him a chin. It's going to be a crazy looking chin. So we're going to do a big old chin. Like that. Alright, so now I know that that's on the bottom. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go yellow, but I'm going to have it mostly white, and go to a different layer, and I'm going to draw these things here. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken my background because it's getting hard for me to see the different colors. So you can go, a lot of people like to go with gray, but as you can see my silhouette is gray, so I'm going to have to go darker. So I'm just going to go with a black background. Let me see the coloring here. So I'm not going to be afraid to go over my silhouette, and that's because I'm on a separate layer. So whatever I erase from there, it's not going to ruin my entire picture. And you'll get to see that here. So I have my erase tool, and I'm just going to start erasing. Like that. And if you guys hearing a high-pitched noise, that's my furnace. It's got some issues, and it's been pretty brain-busting with the noise that's coming from it. Don't hesitate to comment either. I'm not going to be able to see your comments right now, but like I said earlier, once I'm done with this, I will definitely check out the comments and answer any questions you guys have, things like that.